Welcome to A Scottish Ghost Story, A Day, Series 1, Castle Ghosts, brought to you by bagtownclans.com, the podcast that delves into Scotland's most chilling and intriguing tales. I'm your host, Derek McDonald, and today we journey to the East Neuk of Fife, to a centuries-old tower house known as Balcomie Castle. This once grand 16th century fortress sits near Crail, its stone walls weathered by time and rumour. For within these walls lies a haunting tale, a tale of a forgotten young soul whose playful whistle sealed his tragic fate. Shall we uncover the sorrowful mystery of the Whistling Wraith of Balcomie Castle? Balcomie Castle, an L-plan tower house rising 5 stories, was initially built in the early 1500s and later expanded into a larger mansion house. The property passed through many hands, from the Learmonths of Clatto to the Erskine Earls of Kellie, with each era leaving its mark. Mary of Guise, the French bride of King James V, even stayed here briefly on her journey to become Queen of Scotland. However, it is not royal visits or architectural grandeur that draw people to Balcomie Castle. Rather, it is the eerie presence of a ghostly figure, a young boy or man who wanders the darkened halls, heard by many, but seen by few. The story of Balcomie's restless spirit begins in the mid-17th century. Legend has it that the castle was home to a powerful laird, or perhaps a stern general, a man who commanded absolute silence and obedience from his servants. Among those servants was a cheerful young boy, with a fondness for whistling. Whether while working or at play, he whistled constantly, his tunes echoing off the castle's stone walls, a cheerful refrain that lightened the otherwise cold and austere atmosphere of Balcomie. But what brought joy to some irritated the laird to no end. His patience worn thin, the laird confronted the young whistler on a cold winter's morning, demanding he cease his incessant tune. Yet the boy could not help himself. His cheerful whistling continued, defying the silence the laird desired. Enraged, the laird dragged the boy down to the castle's darkest dungeon, an oubliette where prisoners were placed to be forgotten. He locked the boy inside and left him there, perhaps intending to teach him a lesson. Tragically, in the cold depths of the castle, the boy was forgotten for nearly a week, his pleas and whistling unheard by the outside world. When the laird finally remembered the imprisoned child, it was too late. The boy had succumbed to dehydration and starvation, his small form huddled in the icy darkness, his spirit departing with one final, silent note. Haunted by his actions, the laird kept the incident hidden, yet the guilt he felt lingered like a shadow over the castle. His conscience may have found peace, but the boy's spirit did not. Over the centuries, strange events have been reported within Balcomie Castle. Visitors and staff have felt sudden, unexplained chills in the air, as if someone unseen were watching them. Candles in the castle are said to burn an eerie blue, flickering wildly as though caught in a draught, even when all windows are closed. The furniture, especially chairs, mysteriously moves from one spot to another, as if an unseen guest were rearranging the room. Yet, perhaps the most disturbing phenomenon is the spectral whistling. From the forgotten dungeon in the castle's depths, on certain quiet nights, faint whistling drifts up through the corridors. It's a melancholic tune, light and childlike, haunting yet strangely comforting. Many believe this is the boy's ghost, forever whistling the tune that led to his doom. Some claim to have seen his apparition, a faint figure clutching a small tin whistle, his face pale and sad, his eyes searching for something, or someone, who never came. Local legend even tells of an old fisherman from Crail, who swore he once saw the ghostly boy atop Balcomie's highest tower on a stormy night. The fisherman was certain the figure held a rusty tin whistle, and though no sound came, he could feel the sorrow radiating from the spectral child. Word of these ghostly encounters has kept some locals from venturing near the castle at night, fearing they might disturb the restless spirit of the whistling boy. Historians who have studied the tale suggest it may have been an attempt by the laird to impose strict order on his household. Others speculate the boy's cheerful tunes might have reminded the laird of some long-buried pain or sorrow. Whatever the reason, the cruelty of the boy's punishment remains undeniable, and his fate has embedded itself into Balcomie Castle's very stones, a haunting reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the tragic consequences of a simple act misunderstood. Today, Balcomie Castle operates as a farmhouse, and while parts of the building can be rented as holiday accommodation, the original tower house, where the ghostly whistling originates, remains largely uninhabited. For those brave enough to spend the night, tales of strange sounds, shadowy movements, and the echo of an unearthly tune offer a chilling reminder of Balcomie's dark past. The walled garden may be silent under the moonlight, but for those who listen closely, the faint sound of whistling can sometimes be heard, as if the boy were there, still waiting for his release. So, if you ever find yourself near Crail, standing before the ancient walls of Balcomie Castle, take a moment to pause and listen. Perhaps you too will hear the forlorn notes of a tin whistle, a melody trapped between life and death, a song that lingers, carried on the coastal winds. Thank you for joining me on a Scottish ghost story a day. Balcomie Castle's walls hold many secrets, but none so haunting as that of the Whistling Wraith. Until next time, I'm Derek McDonald. Stay curious and stay safe.